Okay, in today's video, we're going to talk about the Internet of Things, what's going on with myself, and about building a cybersecurity community and connecting more and collaborating, and then what's going on in the news. So let's hack at it. So a couple things I want to talk about this morning. First, I tried to do a video yesterday, and I'm actually redoing the video this morning. What you'll see on this side is a little bit of shaky camera, bad quality. I have a standard that I'm trying to meet to make sure that I get the best video out there for myself and for you guys. So jumping into the video. So first, collaboration with IT security. One of the things I'm really thinking about, and as I went to the DEF CON group, it really came prevalent to me, is that there's so many great people in the IT world, that are transitioning, coming over to IT security, that we need to collaborate. We need to work together more. They're saying there's such a bridge between, like a gap between, the people, the companies that are looking for qualified IT security people and the people that are qualified. So that huge gap in between, we need to bridge that gap. Companies are not going to do it just because it costs too much money, it has too much time, and they really are trying to figure it out themselves. Education institutions cost way too much money for people to try to figure it out, right? They need a solution and someone that's more seasoned, as well as people that understand the industry day in and day out, to be able to help them bridge that gap and make things easier. And I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I'm doing these daily cyber logs is not that I know, but I'm learning as I'm going. What worked, what doesn't, talk to lots of people, try to get as much information I can, and then I relay it. And so what happens is other people can kind of go, oh, yeah, I don't want to take CEH anymore because I want to take OSCP, right? Because I want more of a applied hacking, penetration testing certification, versus CH is good for theoretical if I was a manager or someone just wanted to know the knowledge and manage a pen testing team. But if I actually needed to do it, I needed to go towards the OSCP. And if I was going to be like the pen tester, I needed more of a hands-on applied knowledge because I need to be able to do it. So things like that to bridge that gap, and then having people around you that can teach you or just answer questions as you go for fuzzing applications and all different areas of IT security. We need to really collaborate, and I think it's up to us. Now, I'd like to know, one, what do you think about collaborating and bridging that gap? And two, what are ways that you think we should do it? Are we talking about peerless, having like a website community that we work together more, having a Slack channel, having Zoom webinars and meetings? What do you think? Comment below. I'd really like to hear your feedback and what you think will best work. In the next section in the news, we're going to talk about the Internet of Things, because that's one thing we're going to be, well, for me, it's really a challenge. Well, after watching Cyber Wars, I think it was on Vice. It was a documentary show that a news reporter goes around and looks at different situations of cybersecurity, and he was talking about the Internet of Things, and it just kind of blew my mind, like just how much we're not thinking about, how much companies put out, available products to make it all access, and oh, this is so exciting, you have all these features, but when we look at confidentiality and the security of it, it's kind of this gap that we're not filling and we're not looking at, and they're having third-party companies, consultants do the coding, but they're not testing the code for security. They're testing it for functionality. So really kind of things that really kind of are opening my mind, kind of scary. But we're going to talk about that in the news. So that's it for this section right now. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? Oh, pen testing. So for me, one of the challenges that I'm dealing with pen testing right now is the tools that I'm installing with Kali Linux and going through that pen testing book that I talked about. She's great. Georgia Wyman's really kind of good and a lot of information. But I'm finding that some tools are outdated, some tools I have to figure out and try to install it. And I know this is part of the pen testing and IT security mindset, is that a lot of times you have to do research. You have to be a great researcher. You have to learn about what works. and then you have to, implement it. And this is kind of what I'm learning and doing. It's just a little bit of a challenge because I want to learn the tools and how they work, and then go out and figure out which ones are different and which ones are, more functional for myself or for what I need. But I want to learn how to use them first and understand what's the differences, have a baseline. So kind of a little bit of a challenge that I'm running through, but I'm going to get through it. And just comment below if you have some ways of, bridging or shortening that learning span. So that's it for right now. Let's get into the news. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the news. First article is Bad Rabbit New Ransomware Attack Rapidly Spreads Across Europe. This one's brought by the Hacker News. Let me just read this over. A new widespread ransomware attack is spreading like wildfire around Europe, and it has already affected over 200 major organizations, primarily in Russia, Ukraine, Turkey, and Germany in the past few hours. Dubbed Bad Rabbit is reportedly a new Petya-like targeted ransom attack against corporate networks, demanding 0.05 Bitcoin, approximately $285, as ransom from victims to unlock their systems. According to the initial analysis provided by the Kaspersky, the ransomware was distributed via drive-by downloads attacks using fake Adobe Flash player install to lure install malware unwillingly. So this is kind of crazy. Ransomware just is constantly going, and which brings me to my next article and a little bit of a longer discussion, which I want to dive into, which is called Internet Cybersecurity Plan B, or what's Plan B. And this is I found this on Schneier blog, and the links are below, so you can check that out. And it's a very long article, a lot of depth of knowledge, but just kind of the brief. In August, for U.S. senators introduced a bill designed to improve Internet of Things security. The Internet of Things Cybersecurity Improvement Act of 2017 is a modest piece of legislation. It doesn't regulate the Internet of Things market. It doesn't single out any industries for particular attention or force any companies to do anything. It doesn't even modify the liability laws for embedding software. Companies can continue to sell IoT, Internet of Things devices with whatever lousy security they want. And it goes deeper into the article. What I wanted to bring up about this article, which I think is very important, is I was watching a show or a documentary on Vice, and they're talking about the Internet of Things and how toasters, refrigerators, stoves, heating, alarm systems, smart homes have all these different garages. I'm just trying to think of all the lists, and there's going to be a link below where you can check out all the list of the Internet of Things devices, as well as another link that you can go check and see all the Internet of Things devices that are online. Those links below are very essential, because you got to look at it in the sense of this when it comes to security. There's layers of challenges that are happening. One, companies are developing these devices to meet the availability of the CIA, which is confidentiality, data, integrity, and availability. So they're reaching the availability that's exciting. There's new technology. You get to play with this, this new toy, and it's so exciting. And you get to remote control it from your smartphone, from your office, and you control the heat and the lighting and all that great stuff. But in the show iRobot, they were actually showing that one of the characters in the show, what happened was she got compromised, and all her devices were going off. Everything was, just going crazy, going nuts. And what happened was, she had no control. Well, in this documentary, they were actually talking about the potential for ransomware to cross over to that area where you get locked out of your house, you can't use any of your devices. And the only way you can do it is that if you pay a ransom, right? So these are the things we got to be very mindful of installing all these devices, all these Internet of Things devices in our home. Is where's the line that we draw for availability to confidentiality, right, and security? Where's that where we as users draw the line? Because we're the ones that are influencing companies to manufacture these products. As soon as we stop spending our dollars, then they'll start making changes.
right? And here's to hit home, and this is for people that maybe not have the security awareness or being a little bit of lax and kind of going, it's not a big deal. You got to think, by the time that device gets manufactured, gets to the retail store, majority of the time that software is out of date. And when we look at the Internet of Things and compromises, it's coming from the programming underneath. And from the research I'm doing, I'm finding sometimes companies outsource that programming, right, and the coding to develop and to run that hardware. What happens is sometimes there's not a testing, a fuzzing phase, penetration phase done on a device to make sure it's secure. So they get that code in, they test the device, make sure it runs, it does all the functionality, it's available, the availability is there, right? Because it can turn on, turn off, manage that, turn the temperature on, turn the temperature low, do all that great stuff. But then they don't go, well, can it be compromised? Is there back doors? Is there openings? Is the code been written in a secure manner? Well, they don't check that. And then they put out to the masses, and then all of a sudden there's an open door, right? There's a vulnerability in the code, and then that's where they get compromised. Now, this is where us as end users need to be very mindful of where we spend our dollars and say, look, you know what? If it's not secure, I'm not going to buy it. You need to have some sort of, endorsement saying it's not even a great device, but it's also secure because we've gone through these due diligences. We've done these testing. We've made sure it's, we've put it through a bounty program. We've done all these great things, and now we can verify that it's secure. On top of it, we do patch management. We'll manage the device and update it as we see that it needs to be patched. This is the steps that companies and manufacturers need to take, and we need to influence them to do that. And I think that's very important. And if you're not taking this serious, I'm going to be the one saying it now, and I'm sure other cybersecurity people are saying it, but I'm going to want to be saying it in this video to you, is that it is going to be an area of threat later. If it is not already now, it's going to increase as the availability of Internet of Things keep going out. It's just going to be that easy thing, because what happens, you're going to find companies, and use as an example, companies will secure the whole network. They'll servers, desktops, mobile devices, firewalls, routers, switches, unified threat managers, all that. But then all of a sudden there'll be a device, maybe a water dispenser that connects to, through Wi-Fi to update the company if the water is low. Well, that might go out through the Wi-Fi, but the company's not securing it, so that's an open door. And what you might not realize, I mean, if you're a security or IT, you realize that, but maybe you're just an end user that's, having fun with technology. That is a potential open door. Think of your house, right? You might have the best security, but if you leave your window open on the main floor, it doesn't matter how much security you have. Someone can break in your house because they're going through that window. Well, that's what these are. These are, points of access that people are going to use because they'll find it easy. They'll find the least point of resistance to break into your system. And if that means that they'll go through the water cooler that has Wi-Fi access and has an IP address, they'll do it. So I don't want to rant on too much, but it's just very important that we start this conversation. So that's it for today's video. Don't forget, software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next video.